a toddler's concept of consent and an animal's concept of consent are going to be about the same. Here's the non-human animals, as we understand it, do not have sapience. They may be sentient, but they don't have sapience. All right, I am not real thrilled about covering this video. I'm just not. I guess do I just do? Yeah, we'll do fan art still. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. This one is from Bexy Mama. It is a piece playing on the "You're a beta male, Sonic" that Jet covered, and we covered on the channel at one point. So yeah, there's that. Also, we have a piece from Dusk. There we go. Fan art is out. Normally I would spend more time on it, but I know what we're getting into, and I just can't stand it. Before we get into Sappho, though, I gotta give everybody a proper warning, a proper trigger warning. Sappho is a zoophile. This is a very disgusting topic. I'm not trying to poison the well when I say this is gross. If you need to not be here, I wholly understand. I already feel gross covering it. If you drop in anything, I cannot promise I'll get to it. The Work Architect, I will at least get to that one. Thank you for redeeming your points for an... Oh, whoa. Okay. Let's do this.
Hi.
Before making judgments, please watch the first half of the video. Okay? That's what we're gonna do.
Hey everyone. You all know me as Sappho, and I wanted to make a video about coming out.
Okay?
Coming out with anything can be very difficult, especially if it's something that society currently views with disgust or is a bit dangerous to even come out with the way that things are right now. And it's a lot like when homosexuals were coming out in the 1960s.
So this is the part where in Sappho's tweet thread they did the exact same thing, where they hide behind things like Stonewall to justify what they're about to talk about.
During Stonewall and those sorts of events. And I know that 99% of my viewers, my community, you don't have anything wrong with homosexuals or gay people.
Yep.
You support them, you support LGBT,
Yep.
Nothing against them. But I guarantee that many of you, even if you can't imagine it now, if you were growing up in the 1960s and were being fed all of the news and social propaganda about how gay people should stay in the closet, how it's unnatural and against nature, and...
Okay, so here's the thing. Before you go any further, homosexual adults can consent to doing things with one another. Animals cannot consent. That's the linchpin here. You don't get to compare yourself to adults who consent with each other if you are going to... You don't get to compare yourself to adults who are consenting with each other when your victim necessarily cannot consent. Homosexual is also natural for bats and birds. Not the point. Natural is not an argument. Appeals to nature are not arguments. If you fuck something that cannot consent and it is a living being, I'm sorry, that is bad. It is bad when it's a child. It is bad when it's an animal. If it can't consent, it is wrong.
crazy shit like that, a lot of you would probably be anti-gay, anti-LGBT. and that's just how it is. And
we're gonna speed them up. We're gonna speed them up.
I respect you all, and frankly, this sort of thing would have leaked out eventually, especially with how cancel culture is these days and other furry drama. There would be people out there that, you know, they want to have a gotcha moment. They want to build their fame and popularity and, you know, expose people. And I'm just not going to give the opportunity for a Sappho exposed kind of video.
Okay.
And I would rather suck the air out of the sails of the rantsonas, and instead of letting this sort of thing build, just be open and honest about myself and my beliefs.
You've not sucked the air out of the rantsonas. I guarantee you haven't. All you've done is given them a shit ton of ammunition. You know how you avoid this problem? You just don't fuck animals.
And I want to clear the air and say that, for the record, I am a zoophile. You did not mishear that. I am a zoophile. I do not have a thing for humans. I am more attracted to dogs like German Shepherds.
And there it is. Okay. This person should never be allowed to own an animal in their life. You cannot expect me to believe that an animal that cannot communicate with you can consent. It can't. Again, if you want to be like, I just don't have a thing for humans. Cool. Then just don't date humans. But don't wrap innocent animals up into this. Don't. Don't. Just don't. And again, please never have a pet. Never.
If you are willing to stay and listen to my view and explanation, that is the point of this video. It is to show that there are ethical guidelines. It's not so black and white like many furries think that it is, and a full explanation as to the way that I think and the way that others think and why.
Okay.
Zoophilia is often very misunderstood, especially because of certain very terrible people and what you may have seen in the news. And someone that I will not mention, if you remember that situation with the zoo sadism leaks a few years back. Unfortunately, when people think of zoophiles, especially furries, that's the person that comes to mind. That is the situation that comes to mind.
Well, I don't know if it's much better if it's you, but I want to give them the opportunity to get to their point, and I hope that it's a better made point than the point they made in their Twitter thread.
And I'm talking about horrible abuses. And I'm not accusing a certain individual of anything here, but those leaks showed some truly horrendous people doing awful things to puppies, dead animals, animal gore, and other atrocities that I really wish would have been prosecuted, but unfortunately most could not, either by legal technicalities or so on.
Okay. So this does not explain why it's okay for you to fuck a German Shepherd.
And it's a really sore thing for me because...
Like, okay. Let me contextualize this, because I do not personally see a difference between, as I already said before, between like doing this abuse on an animal or doing this abuse on a child. I don't. They're both equally bad, and they are equally bad, or they are bad in such high extremes. I find that people who do one would necessarily do the other if the attraction inclined. So let's reword this statement. It is so horrible that babies were tortured, mutilated. There was baby gore. Now let me explain to you why they should be able to do things with children. We don't get there. There is not a logical thoroughfare from there. You just said, yep, this one thing is bad, but I'm going to go do this other, also really fucking bad thing.
Very misunderstood, especially because of certain very terrible people and what you may have seen in the news. And
we're back here. We're back here.
Mature is like the equivalent of pedophilia, and it's treated as...
Come on.
and through advises it. People who force animals into situations they don't want, physically and through other means, are completely deplorable and seen as rapists.
Yep.
Playing with an animal that is not sexually mature is like the equivalent of pedophilia, and it's treated as such.
Playing with an animal is the same to me. An animal at all.
I do not support those people, and they do not deserve the same title. They're fetishists and bestialists.
I'm sorry. Bestialist? Again, this is like saying I'm not a genocider. I'm a mass homicider. Okay. Okay.
I do not want them to be the face of the community, and they should not be the face of the community. It's like literal Nazis considering themselves furries in the fandom. You don't want them. We don't want them. We don't want that image.
Then just don't fuck animals. You don't want that image? Just don't fuck animals. It's not hard.
Be what people think about. Ethical zoos are not like that. Zoophiles are among the most caring and loving people towards animals and their mates.
What do you consider a mate here? Wait, hold on. This begs a question. If you are a bisexual, polyamorous zoophile, do you see, like, 2 dogs as a potential threesome? Honestly, real question, is that a thing that goes through the mind there? Because that's also fucking gross. I swear if I actually get a response from Sappho and they answer that with a yes, I'm gonna go bash my brain in.
We see animals as equals to humans, not as property or an object like in the eyes of the law and others. Specifically, I and other ethical zoos follow what's called Zeta principles. Zeta being the Greek symbol, but also standing for zoophiles engagement, for tolerance and acceptance. So if you see that symbol on a furry, that's probably what they're referring to, or they're an ally towards that kind of cause.
If you are an ally towards zoophiles, I see you as no better than the fucking zoophile. So go ahead, identify yourself. It tells me exactly who to block on Twitter. And report. All of you.
And those principles are: bestow upon animals the same kindness one would wish bestowed upon oneself.
Cool. One would not want to be fucked without consent. Animals cannot consent. Therefore, do not fuck animals that cannot consent. Boom. You've already violated your goddamn law.
Consider the well-being of an animal companion as important as one's own.
Cool. Your well-being is harmed when you are fucked without consent.
Place the animal's will and well-being ahead of one's desires for sexual gratification.
But did you really? Did you really put their will above your desire for sexual gratification?
Teach those who seek knowledge about zoophilia and bestiality without promoting it. Discourage the practice of bestiality in the presence of fetish seekers.
Discourage bestiality in the presence of fetish seekers. But for everyone else,
Censor sexual exploitation of animals for the purpose of financial gain, and censor those who practice and promote animal sexual abuse.
Cool. Done. Donezo. Done. Censored. Boom. Bup. Done it. Followed your rules. I just did. I just censored the person who was promoting animal sexual abuse. I did it, everyone. Oh my god. It only got worse from there. It did. Oh no.
Zoophiles are not the same as bestialists and fetishists who do not follow those principles. Hypothetically speaking, I would see my partner or my mate as an equal to myself. Everything would be out of love, care, and affection for their wellness and well-being.
These are things a pedophile can say about a child, and it still means the child is being abused. This changes nothing.
It would not be to serve myself and my desires. And a lot of people have issues with this sort of thing, which is understandable. I can understand the point of view that others have about my views. The biggest argument, of course, that comes up is about consent.
Yeah,
and
duh.
What is that like, right? And they want to compare like apples to oranges. They want to compare a grown, adult, sexually mature animal to like a toddler, basically.
Because it's the same thing. A toddler's concept of consent and an animal's concept of consent are going to be about the same. Here's the non-human animals, as we understand it, do not have sapience. They may be sentient, but they don't have sapience. They don't have the ability to self-actualize. As a result, they do not have the ability to engage in fucking consent.
Comparing apples to oranges. And in my opinion, it's a bad faith argument. I don't think you can compare a sexually mature animal to a not sexually mature human. I think it's bad faith. But back to that hypothetical, and my view on it is that if my mate came up to me, loved me, and wanted something more in that moment, why would I deny them that need?
So, if a child loved you, did not have the ability to properly conceptualize what consent is, but they had been abused enough to want sex, despite the fact that they cannot conceptualize consent, and they really don't know a whole lot about what they are doing, but they feel in that moment that they want it. Does that make it okay? Can you just say, well, why would I deny this child that? It's easier to just point out that you are in a position of power. Power dynamics are greatly skewed in your favor. You should not be engaging with this person in my scenario, or with this animal in your scenario. Your animal in this scenario cannot give clear and obvious consent. They can't. And because they cannot, I don't know how many times I have to keep on saying this, because they cannot give clear and obvious consent, you have to do some awkward inferences. You cannot use this as a valid example for your point. Yeah, you can use Pavlovian conditioning to make a dog salivate at anything. You can use Pavlovian conditioning to get a dog to salivate and feel like it wants literally anything that you give to it. You can manipulate these things, and you can do it in ways that in your mind are not harming the animal, but in reality they are. Gonna play just a little bit more.
I want to care for their well-being and help them feel good. At the same time, if the animal is uncomfortable or walks away, that's a no. That's a do not continue. That's a I do not consent. I have a really close zoo friend that can explain more in a non-hypothetical way in the second half of this video.
Nope. I do not need it outside of the hypotheticals. I don't. No, absolutely fucking not. Nope. We're done. Nope. Abso-god-fucking-lutely not. Congratulations. We have found the bottom of the bottomless barrel. This is why we should not have removed the dislike button, or at least the bar, from YouTube. We should not have. Pulling that was a mistake. We found what the void spat back out. Yeah, no. Okay, let's go over what we listened to. We listened to somebody who wants to fuck their dog, specifically a German Shepherd, has likely done so in the past, justify it post hoc, and in so doing, thinks that this is an okay thing to do and is trying to convince you that it's an okay thing to do, despite the fact that all of the indicators that we would use to determine that a child cannot consent are all the exact indicators we would use to determine that an animal cannot consent. And this person wants to say that they are ethical despite the fact that they violate the actual principles that they have said. No. Bad. Anyways, I want to die. If you want to support the channel, you know how to do it. Insert end the video tagline here.